Alright, what's going on, guys? Got a couple things to unbox tonight. One of them is a personal modern Grail, and we'll save that one for last, just in case anyone comes into the chat room late. And so we'll go ahead and get started here. Alright, so we have 3 copies of Night Moves #1. And independent comic. It takes place in Vegas, so you know I've got to definitely show the support there. And we have 3 copies basically of the black and white variant. So that was a 1 for 10 variant. They didn't really make too many of these books. So there's something like, I think, 1,800 printed, the 1 for 10s. There's basically going to be somewheres around 180 of those. So this one looks to be in pretty decent shape. Put that one there. And was able to get these for right around $10. Maybe the average cost on all of them with shipping is probably closer to maybe $12 a piece, maybe slightly less, but something like that. And they were basically 1 for 10s. This one looks really nice too. There's a closer look at it. Gonna put that one there. Got all my stands set up, so you guys should have something nice to look at there. And the prices for the standard cover, kind of a little bit all over the place. You know, I see sales as high as $15, but then also as low as cover price. So I decided let me scoop up the 3 cheapest 1 for 10 variants that were on eBay. I can't tell, is that? I can't tell if that is in the, oh no, that's not on the book, just a little piece of paper fuzz in there. Alright, so there's the 3rd one. Let's see if this will just stack on top of the other one. Anyway, so it could turn out to be something. From reviews that I've seen, people seem to like the series so far. Alright, this is one that I missed out on when it came out. Another independent, and series really kind of heated up. But it's cooled off enough to where I figured it's time for me to try and get the copy that I want. So this is Punchline, and what we have here is the road trip variant. And I really just enjoyed this cover. Kind of almost reminded me of like a female Dukes of Hazzard or something, you know, with the girls kind of jumping in the window of the car door. All right, let's see what we gotta do here. Yeah, I'm not really sure what the whole bag is supposed to do when you only got 1 comic. I don't know if they're trying to use that as some type of cushion or something. Okay, here we go. Definitely don't mind the extra bag and boards, I guess, in there. Help try and keep stuff secure. So there is Punchline 1, the road trip variant. Let's take a look at this bad boy. Little bindery condition there at the top spine. You know, I don't know what CGC is going to think about that. It's tough to say. it may be just slightly more bindery tear. If that's the case, then probably they call that one a 9.6. Could make 9.8 though, who knows. Okay, so this one is a limited variant. They only made 100 of them. And you guys know me, I'm a sucker when it comes to these low print run variants. My kind of thought process on them is if they ever heat up, then the limited ones are going to be the ones that everyone's going to try and hunt for. Okay, let's see here. Be careful here. Don't want to cut really too much into the box. Yeah, you gotta be real careful when you're cutting into this tape like this. You know, I had someone on the inner part of the Gemini mailer, they took and cut the tape like this and went right into the comic. And, you know, I always put tape pulls whenever I do anything, but now I'm to the point where I actually won't face the comic up. I'll put the backer board facing up just in case someone else takes a razor blade and cuts that tape, even though I have tape pulls. So that is was not good. I felt kind of bad for the guy. I got this one in here pretty decently. But packaged nicely, can't complain about this. Multiple copies, putting them inside of a bag, taking all the slack out. I mean, that's pretty much the absolute perfect way to ship. Painter's tape on the inside, love it. Would have liked some tape pulls to make it just slightly easier, but you know, I'm not going to complain too much. Could definitely be worse. It could be some massive sea of tape. And I'm happy that that isn't the case. And it looks like everyone is putting some extra backer boards in there, which is kind of cool, I guess. Seems to be the theme. Okay. So, we got 5 copies of Ogre #1. And I've done really well selling the standard copies of this. And this one is limited to only 100 copies. So if this series, you know, continues to stay hot or really takes off, then these books could potentially see some, you know, really nice gains. It's possible anyway. You know, with them being limited like that, we at least have a chance for something like that. Okay, so let's see. Let's take this down. Throw this one up here. And these look to be in really nice shape. And one interesting thing, you know, you can even see, I don't know if I can get this right on the camera, but it does say 1 of 100 there. And the artwork for this is slightly different than the standard cover, so it is different artwork, which is kind of nice. All right. Okay, here, I hope this one's okay. It got crunched here a little bit, and the guy kind of mentioned to me, he's like, hey, I'm out of Gemini mailers, so I'm just gonna stick it in between a whole bunch of cardboard. And I was like, oh, okay. And I kind of mentioned to him, hey, you know, how about you throw it in a top loader just to help? So I don't know if he did that or not. But hopefully this thing is going to be safe. Priority. Nice, good old t-shirt thank you bag. Now this one is one that I picked up 3 copies of this as well. Another series that's been really hot. And this one's a little bit speculative. Okay, he's got some nice little wafer board here. Alright, I'm going to very carefully cut this tape. Very, very carefully. Don't want to hit this book. Definitely not. Okay. Yeah, more extra bag and boards. Just like 3 and 3. Okay. So another fantastic series. This is Rags #1, the Tim Lim variant. This is the only variant of any of the Patreons or Antarctic Press that's uncensored. So I really think this one looks nice too. And they didn't really care about when they shipped these. This is a really nice little copy. Happy to have that. So what's basically happened with these is there was a few more of these. They re-released them to the Patreons. So there was X amount that were initially released and then more that were released. So when that happened, there was a little bit of people trying to sell them for the big bucks on eBay. A few months ago, before that second wave was released by the creators, this book was selling for between $500 and $800. So once people got them from the Patreon, some of them decide to sell them, and I don't really know how many. Just kind of guessing off eBay, maybe like 20 copies. But with everyone hitting eBay at the same time, it really drove the price of this book down. Now, 2 weeks ago on Comics and Cold Ones, they had the creators of Rags on the show, and it was a live chat, and I was in the chat room, and I asked the question. I was like, hey, are you guys going to release any more Tim Lim variants? And they answered absolutely not. And the guys seemed like stand-up guys, so I believe them. So once they told me that, then I was like, okay, now is probably a pretty good time to try and grab a few of these. So I grabbed 3. And what my plan with these is to send them into CGC, sell maybe 1, maybe 2, definitely going to keep 1 for myself. But I do believe that if this series continues to do well, and/or gets picked up for a movie, TV, anything like that, this is really highly speculative, okay? Literally a year from now, this book could be worth nothing, but I'm okay with that because the upside is potentially super huge. So I believe that if this gets picked up, then people are going to hunt down the uncensored version. I really do think that this is the one to have. The other one that has a chance that could be the one to have would be the Antarctic Press Virgin copy. But I really think that, okay, a cover difference is one thing. And, the Virgin copy, the Tim Lim variant, there's a couple other variants. They've all got different covers, but this is the only one that is uncensored completely. So as far as I'm concerned, it's what's in the book that's going to make it ultimately more valuable. So this is my pick for Rags. So we'll go ahead and unbox these other 2. So I'm glad that this one here is okay, because when I saw that priority envelope that was kind of a little bit crunched up, I basically got somewhat nervous, and I was like, oh man, I hope this book is okay. So if you guys are in the market and you don't mind speculating on something that's slightly risky, now still a pretty good time to try and pick up one of those Tim Lim variants, or really any of the Patreon stuff. Kind of this is the same scenario. We had a bunch of copies hit the internet all kind of at the same time on eBay, drove the price down a little bit, and I really do think that given a little bit of time that they're going to rebound and be the more desired copies. Like I said, I could be wrong on that, and it's quite possible that this series may not go anywhere, and it could be worth nothing. But for me, it's worth the risk at this point, and hopefully that isn't what happens. Alright, some more painter's tape. Definitely like to see that. Whenever you guys ship stuff, painter's tape is nice, and I like to do tape pulls because it's just some of the clear tape, the packing tape, can stick so heavily to this stuff that when you go to unbox it, you can actually tweak the spine and bend the comic right through the bag and board. That's a definite possibility. So this one, they nice thick piece of cardboard, or it's two pieces taped together, one of the two. All right, let's take a look at this one. Boy, this one just looks really, really nice as well. I gotta take it out and look at the back and so on and so forth, but it looks to be in really nice shape. Let's see if we can fit. I'll just stick that here for now. Okay, now I'm gonna put it here. All right, here's the third Tim Lim, and this one's in a nice big old priority box. So I'm fairly confident that this one is going to be safe. Box looks to be in nice shape. Okay. Bubble wrap, air pillows, all that good stuff. And I typically try and recycle all this packing material. I'll reuse it, and I don't like to throw too much away. Because I'd rather not buy this stuff when it comes down to it. I mean, luckily, thus far, I haven't had to go buy any bubble wrap, so I'm happy about that. Alright. So yeah, that's solid packing right there. Gemini mailer inside of a priority box. That's pretty much bulletproof. It's actually even more than I do on my typical raw books, but most of my raw books are not quite as valuable as this one is right now when I'm selling them. Alright, perfect. Love it. Tape pulls, just like I do. Beautiful. Extra cardboard, just like I do. Painter's tape, tape pulls. Yeah, that's beautiful packing. Just pretty much like I do. Okay, so he's got this double bagged and boarded. So that's pretty sweet. Now, let's see if we can take a look at this one. Looks really, really nice as well. Yeah, so I mean, at least just from preliminary looking at these, I think they'll all three make 9/8. So we will be sending these into CGC on the next submission that I hopefully will get out before the end of the year. Worst case, it'd be probably first part of January. So there's the third one. All right. Okay, so here, move these out of the way a little bit Okay, so here we have some more Vampirellas. So I'm a pretty big fan of Vampirella, and once again, you guys know I am just a sucker when it comes to limited covers. So when you start talking about Vampirella limited covers, yeah, I'm gonna buy them. You know, I'm gonna buy them. Got a bunch of Vampirella stuff coming back from CGC here soon. Okay, so this one is the Paralo, and this is the color version. There's also a black and white sketch version. Let's throw that one up there. Let's take a look at this also. Looks to be in pretty good shape. Okay, and I can't remember exactly how many sets of these I bought. Okay, so this one took a little bit of a ding on this corner. Luckily, it's not the spine side, so there's not any color breaks. So that looks like something that could eventually be pressed out. Little spine stress there, doesn't appear to be breaking the color. So I would say that's going to be, 9698, something like that. All right, there's another one, same cover, color version. That's 4. I think maybe did I do what 5 sets? It looks like. Okay, so this one. All right, this one is the black and white, and to tell you the truth, there's not a whole bunch of difference. Yeah, there's not a whole bunch of difference when you look at these. I mean, it's black and white, but they left the red coloring. So not a huge amount of difference there. But the black and white, I believe they only made like 150 of them. Something like that. I mean, it's pretty rare. Either 100, 150. And I think the full color one is like 250. So we've got 5 of those. And being the Bloodshot fan that I am, they had a set of Bloodshot. Let me see here. Okay, so this is the trade dress. And this is the color version. And then there is a black and white version. And off the top of my head, I can't remember which one was the rarer of the 3. I mean, obviously it's not the trade dress, but I can't remember if it was the color version or this, black and white with the kind of, it's got like a red splash to it. So I don't know which one is the rarer. But it was fairly limited. Maybe it was 500 copies or something of that nature. Okay, so this is another book that I think is a pretty good investment. And even though there's a movie coming out for this, I am fully expecting the movie to be horrible, So it's not because of the movie that I think that this is a good speculation. If the movie does well, then obviously it will help the book. But I am definitely not counting on this movie to do much of anything for this book. Well, this is an interesting box. I'm just going to rip it. This is another one that consistently makes top 10 lists as far as either modern or I don't know if exactly still is in Copper Age or not. It'd be either late Copper or early modern. And it's a Spawn book. And guys know that I've recommended Spawn #1 in a 9.9. I do think that as people that kind of grew up with Spawn get older and they decide they want to hunt down another Spawn #1, they're going to want a 9.9 or a 10.0. There's only like 4 10.0s in the world, so they're pretty much impossible to get. So most people that are good looking for that high-end copy are going to go for a 9.9. So Spawn #1 9.9. If you guys are able to pick one of those up, then I would highly recommend it if you were a Spawn fan and you're looking for a pretty good investment. So this one is the other book that I would really highly recommend as far as if you're a Spawn fan and you're looking for a fairly solid investment. And this one is the Spawn #1 black and white variant. So this was a retailer incentive, and they did not make many of these things, and they go for pretty penny in high grade, like a CGC 9.8. So don't want to pay the CGC 9.8 money, so I've looked for the nicest raw copy that I could find, and it was an auction, and I was able to win it. So I'm hoping, at least from the pictures on the auction, that this could be, that this could be a 9.698. Oh, they've got it taped. All right, that's why it's not coming out. Yeah, so hoping that this can be a 9.698. I would really be happy if this is a 9.8, because that would just be a really phenomenal score. Okay, so let's see. See a few little spine stresses. I can't really tell if they're breaking the color. So I think that this should at least be a 9.6. I don't know if it'll make 9.8 or not. But there we go. Spawn #1, black and white. Take these down. So there is a movie in the works, and really it just looks absolutely horrible. It's like Spawn is the Spectre in the background. He is doesn't say anything in the movie. It just really unusual, weird, and like I said, I'm not expecting the movie to be any type of factor with the value of the book on that one, unfortunately. Let's see who's in the chat. Victor, what's going on, brother? No, I did not get the punchline to the soaring variant. I may look for that one after, say, it kind of cools down a little bit. Dragon's Lair variant. Man, I'll have to check that one out. I haven't even looked at that one. Yeah, I'll have to check that Dragon's Lair variant out, Victor. Okay, so this is the personal Grail I was talking about. And this is a book that, man, the story just, I really love this story. It has to do with relationships and raising kids and stuff that, people our age are just going to have to deal with. And, if you haven't guessed already, it's Saga #1. And it's a 9.8 of the RRP. I'm super happy to get this book. There's only 500 of them out there. And, the whole time that I've been watching this book, like I first started probably looking at it when it was around the, I would say it was around the $1,700 mark. And, the way I roll, I'm going, okay, yeah, I want it, but I don't want to pay 9.8 price. I'm going to look for a raw copy. I'm going to, get a couple raw copies, press, grade them, and try and work my way up to a 9.8 at much less of a cost than the, say, $1,700 or whatever they were going for at the time. So basically, these books are just, they're not around. And the raw copies go for an insane amounts of money. I mean, I think uh, the last raw copy went for, around $1,500 or something like that, which just makes 0 sense to take a look at that when you're looking at the price of a 9.8. So the 9.8s kind of started creeping up. They started selling for, say, 2,600, 2,700. I think there was a sale at close to 3,000 or slightly even more than 3,000. And at that point, I'm thinking, wow, this thing is just going nuts. Well, was able to win an auction and pick this up for $2,000. So had to move on that, because I figured, you know what, if I don't strike now, this thing could just be up and away, and to the point where I'm just going to give up on it. So super happy to get that book. It just doesn't show up all that often. I mean, if you're a big Saga fan, I'm sure this is on your list to try and pick up. And like I said, raw copies are pretty much non-existent. And why would you buy a raw copy for 12 to 15, 1,600 when you can get yourself a 9.8 for not that much more? That just doesn't make sense as far as what the risk is when you're looking at trying to get yourself a 9.8 copy. So anyway, really happy to have that book. I don't know if there's any questions or anything. And unfortunately, sorry guys, I can't see you if you're in the room unless you type in the chat, because basically I'm using my phone to do everything. Hoping that the audio is better. I picked up a new mic that attaches to the phone, so I'm hoping that helps. Picked up a couple stands and worked on the placement so that I know that everything is in the screen for you guys. So anyway, hoping that this live show goes with no technical difficulties, and it seems to be that we're doing fairly decent right now. So if there's any questions, please fire stuff away. Yeah, dude. I mean, Victor, I hear you, man. This thing has just gone nuts, and I was really, really happy to be able to scoop that copy when I think the last sale was close to 3,000, and to get this one for 2,000. I was like, look, if I don't figure out a way to do this now, the prices are probably just going to shoot up even more. There's just not a lot of them out there, and even though it's just a variant, I mean, I really, really, really like the artwork on this one. To me, it's just far superior to the standard cover. And I've got 3 or 4 of the standard covers, and I still think those are great investments too. But if Saga gets picked up for a movie or TV show or something, man, this thing is gonna freaking take off. I could see this hitting $5,000 or $10,000 or something just absolutely insane if this thing gets picked up for a TV or a movie. But anyway, thank you guys for taking the time to check this show out on a Sunday night. I know it's late night if you're back east, and I know there's a couple people that watch from back east. And I've got to box up some more stuff to get some pre-sales out. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it short. And please, check back next Sunday. I don't know what we're going to have, because this is like a whole bunch of stuff came in. And I do have some more CGC stuff coming. Actually, I should have at least one CGC unboxing next Sunday. There's 4 more boxes of 25 coming. But I don't know if they'll all be here by Sunday. But at least one of them will, because it's already shipped. And I think even with Christmas and stuff, I should have it by Sunday. But I probably won't go live before Christmas. So Merry Christmas, guys. And we'll definitely see you before the New Year's, because we'll have that box, the CGC unboxing, to do on next Sunday. And take care. We'll catch you guys next time.